Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Sandy Olson-Hill, and I'm pleased to be joining with Arts for All Florida to bring art into your home. Today, we will be merging literary arts with visual arts by creating and embellishing a blackout poetry piece using a stencil and your choice of crayons or colored pencils and a marker. I'm using a marker, or you can use a graphite pencil or a black crayon. Our goal is to find a hidden poem or message that speaks to us from the text, then bring visual art into the word works. So let's get started. So for the first portion of our blackout poetry piece, I have torn an old piece of paper from a book that was damaged, or you can use a slice of magazine, or you can create your own, or use advertisement mail, junk mail. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going into the text, and we're just going to black out the words we're not using. So on the first line, I can see that I'm going to keep this. So I'm going to go here with my marker and just mark out this, because I want to keep she is. So I can just do this too. I don't want anything on this line, but she is. And as I'm working, now you can use a black crayon, like I mentioned before, or a pencil, a black pencil. But since this is blackout poetry, we do want to adhere to the rules, which is using a dark tool. So I'm keeping she is, and I'm going to go down and see if I want to keep anything from here. It's good to keep like to's and is, and if you don't know, if you don't spend a few minutes looking at your work first, which is what I did. And I chose something for this lesson shorter than I normally use. I'll show you some examples as we get closer to the end of this lesson. Okay, so far I have she is, and I'm going to keep, and I'll show you. I'm going to keep eclipsed between the folds, and that's going to be my whole poem, because I took a small text, because I want a little bit more visual art in this. And as I'm working, I'm fixing my erasure. I'm just going in, and you have plenty of time to go back into this too. Take your time with it. Don't push too hard. And as you can see, I have something underneath, because marker bleeds through, doesn't it? So, but I really like the way marker looks on my work. So I choose whenever I can. When I have it around, I use it. It isn't one of my staples. I have tons of colored pencils and regular pencils and black pens. Black pen works perfectly. So I wanted this lesson to be, using whatever you had in your house on hand. I do use a stencil, but you can freehand draw too on the second portion, which we are coming right up. So this is my poem or my message. She is eclipsed between the folds. Now we're going to switch. So for the second portion of our lesson, I have a yellow colored pencil and a red colored pencil. And I have my marker, and I'm going to show you a little bit with painter's tape. If your stencil, and that's what I'm using, you can freehand draw, and I'm going to do a butterfly. But if your stencil moves all over the place and you don't want it to, you can adapt it by just taping it with painter's tape, 2 little pieces. And I'm just showing you, I'm not going to use it because my piece is so small that it's only going to take me a little while to finish this. But you can do that, and it really, really is a great aid. And because you're using painter's tape, it comes right off. It won't rip, or, so whatever you're using, if you're just using a piece of paper like I am, it's not going to tear it. So that's an adaptation that really helps. And don't forget, you can substitute crayons, but just make sure that your stencil's big enough. And I always use these. so that you can use crayons. You know, some of them are so tiny that you can only use thin, you know, pencils. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker too, because I like putting them all together, and I'm going to pick my stencil up and go into it like this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold it. But like I said, you can tape yours. And I'm just going to do the body of my butterfly. Like so, and mine moved like this. And it does take a bit of, you know, you are kind of pushing hard down on your stencil as you work. And I picked a thin marker, but I usually use a fatter one because they're much easier to work with. So I'm going to go in as you know, carefully as I can. And I'm going to make the whole body, not the wings, some of the wings black, because I want to bring my piece together. You know, I want it to work with my erasure part. And you can use any kind of stencil you want. You can even create one just by folding paper over and cutting design, you know, just cutting a design into it. So now I'm going to grab my pencil. I'm going to grab my red and kind of go in like this, holding it, or, you know, keeping it taped down like this, and try to get as close to the edges as I can. And I'm just kind of randomly, you know, working. And I'm going to add black. I like the contrast, but I'm a little nervous I'm going to run out of marker because I've been making quite a few of these. Don't forget I've got the yellow pencil coming in too. So I hope you can see this. Yes. Oops. That's where the tape helps. It really does. Okay. Now I chose a butterfly because I really like them, and I use them in all my, I use them a lot in my classes too, because they're so pretty and they kind of work with everything. And I use different kinds of paper too. Now you can create your own poem too, and, you know, just put some sentences out and then go back in with your marker. And it's kind of like, it's editing really, you know. So, oops. So we're going to go in here like this. I'm being careful not to tear it too, because these finer points can go through your paper. I highly suggest using a thicker marker. I'm just running out of, I make so many of these that, yeah, I'm always running out of marker or pen, but watch your pen too, because it can do the same thing. It can go right through your paper. If you choose to use magazine cutouts, remember it has a glossy finish, so probably use crayons for this part. Probably show up a little bit better. Oh, you can also use all markers too. You can color in your butterfly with all markers, like use your black Sharpie and then bring in colored markers. I've done that too, and it works out really well. But I've gotten to the point where I just grab what I have on hand, and colored pencils are just awesome for this. I'm going to need to go back in with this and kind of make it, the more time you spend on filling it in, the better your piece looks. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in some more red, and I want to make sure that I cap my guy too as I'm working, so I don't lose my marker. So I'm going to come in here like this, just like this. And I'm going to go back and touch them up, but right now I just want to get the initial design done. you know, you want your art to reflect the best that you offer. So yeah, you spend some time on it, don't you? And in this piece, because we care about the words too, we like the dynamics of the visual art, but we care about the words too. So spend a couple minutes looking at your text first, deciding what particular message you want to, you know, reveal on your work, in your work to other people. So if you find it's hard, just do like I did and find very short text to work with. But I do both. I want some more black. As I'm working, I can see, so I'm going to gently take my fingers off. I think it needs a little bit more contrast here. But this is a really quick and easy way to create art with things you have at home. And like I said, you can freehand draw your designs on here, and you can use any kind of stencils. You can also cut your own by folding the paper over 3 or 4 times and just cutting through it and see what you end up with. Okay, so I want red. Well, I kind of got red there, so I'll go down here. I really like these little things you add to it too. Okay, so we want one more right there, marker there. Now you can use as many colors as you want on your butterfly. You know, you can do it all in color too, except for the black, for the poetry part. If you're doing a blackout, there's a little bit of rules to this. Erase your poetry, look into it. You have a lot more freedom to work with. So I'm going to have to do what I didn't want to do, but I'm going to go ahead and do it and see what we end up with. Okay, now the final touch to my piece is to bring in the yellow. So let's see what my butterfly, oh, he's cool. Okay, so I'm going to go into the words. I don't know if you can see this, make sure my camera's down here, bring it down. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go in like this and add a little bit of yellow. If you see, I'm going up and around like here, just into, not going into the writing over the words I save because I want my mess, but really I'm just highlighting around it so that the eye goes there, right? And I'm adding a little bit more color to my piece as I work. I'm going to go into my butterfly, bringing it down like this. Just a little bit of added color. And this is a really fast one. So when you're at home, you can spend some time, a little bit more time on this. And remember to go back in, and as you can see, I've got areas where I need to fix it. Like I need to make my my rectangles a little bit more concise and pretty, right? So I want to spend some time on it. A little bit more yellow here. And I'm kind of just going anywhere, but because I just want splashes of color. Yeah. Everywhere. I'm going to add some on the end of a little bit of dynamics. Yeah, one more there. Okay, I'm almost done just with my preliminaries, and then later I'm going to go and take my time and add some more. I'm going to keep working on it. But I'm not unhappy with it. I like where it's headed. Just color all over the place. Awesome. A little bit more here, right? Wherever I see it needs a little bit more. I play with I do a lot of watercolors, and the best part of when I'm using watercolors is adding all that unexpected color from just everywhere, because you know we love art, don't we? I love art. And I love words too. So this was a great way for me to mix words with art. And I can't wait to, see where else it takes me. I just keep experimenting. And that's what's fun too. That's how I learn, experiment. So let's see what we've got. We're getting there. I might need to go back in and add a little bit more red because I don't want the yellow dominating my piece, but that will come. I will have some time. So this is our piece. So this is my semi-finished piece. I'm going to add some more that we did today. And this is a piece that I spent a little bit more time on. It's similar, it just has more words. And we did this one, so we did it. So we're awesome artists. Now remember, you can pause the video at any time. So we did it. So thank you for coming, artists. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And if you enjoyed this video, we'd love to hear back from you. Please share this video, tag us, leave a comment, or like using our handle @arts4 all Florida. And most of all, we'd really love to see a pic of your work. If you could share that with your finished work or a work in progress. Anyway, we'd just like to hear back from you. And thank you for coming and sharing. And thank you, Arts for All Florida, for hosting this and allowing me to join in.